do it. Great show. Have a great time this weekend. We'll talk. Oh, no, we still actually have to do the show. I'm sorry. Welcome in. Happy Friday to you. It is the NBA Tip-Off Show. I'm just kidding here as we await the one and only Mr. Steve Merrill to show up. But so far right now, we're about minus 135. He's not going to make it by the time we end the show here. But in the meantime, we have two of the one of the finest here. And the other guy, well, he's here. Andy Lang is definitely here. We know that. Andy, always a pleasure. One of the finest that you will get. And Bryan Power. So let's talk here, guys, if we can here. Bryan, always a pleasure to see you, man. I'm only kidding. It is Friday. It feels like it's been a little while since we've seen you on the NBA tip. Oh, there it is. There it is. That's it. That's it. Is that Merrill? I think we've lost Merrill. Yes, it is. That's where he is, trying to get here to the show. All good to see you guys. Big shout out to the chat room, too. Dave's in there, Have, Sean, Catch You Slipping, the whole the crew here on the NBA Tip-Off Show. It's always a pleasure to see you. And look at that, right straight from the bus. Right here to the show, Steve Merrill, back in action, ready to roll. Woo, gonna be one of those shows. All right, guys, let's start with the all-important stuff with especially Andy heading into the weekend here. What are we rolling with? I know we got UFC. There's some golf going on. We got a little bit of something especially for your sports that you absolutely cash tickets in. Tell me what you got going at WagerTalk right now.
Right now we have lacrosse plays that are up. We've got UFC play that is up, and we got NBA for tonight. And then, of course, across the weekend, we'll have some Formula One plays. We'll have other NBA and probably some NHL and MLB. Looking forward to cashing a couple golf plays. It's going to be razor thin here on the cut line here. But you can use a promo code ANDY3, get you a 3-day pass for $39, ANDY3. That way you don't have to pick one sport. You'll just get everything. So looking forward to a great weekend.
Fun fact, when you cash a ticket in lacrosse, it's money. It's the same as if you cash it in any other sport. So there you go here. Nobody really gives a rip. As long as the currency is the same, we are good to go. Cash them damn tickets, Andy. Bryan Power, what is going on, my man? Always a pleasure to see you. That's the total bullshit. But what's happening over at WagerTalk.com?
Yeah, I know. You read that off the teleprompter, Joe, right? They just pay you to say that no matter who's here. But things are going well. Off 4-1 Thursday. Had a best bet on the Warriors. They're obviously not all that easy, but we're sure glad when they are. Also been killing it, both MLB and soccer. At the end of the show, I'll let everyone know about a special offer they can take advantage of for the weekend. Other than that, just glad to be here with Andy, Steve, and of course, you, Joe, breaking down tonight's two NBA playoff matchups.
Always a pleasure there. Marion, how about that? I don't know what I felt bad for. The people that got in late on the under last night and grabbed 220 or the over rather and grabbed 226.5, or those that had the under at 227.5 were laughing. When they just held on to the ball for the last 49 seconds of that game last night. Merrill, what is going on here, my man? Welcome to the party on a Friday. I know you were busy getting those plays up, locked and loaded for the clients, so tell us about it.
Yeah, luckily was not involved in the total last night. We had the side, Golden State a 27-point win. The night before we had Boston, 34-point win. Like it when it's that easy, but the NBA playoffs have been fantastic, hitting 70% overall. NBA number one in 2023 regular season and playoffs combined, so not a surprise. I've got another strong best bet tonight. I'm going to give out a free play as well here on the show in a little bit. And don't forget about baseball. Baseball best bet as well. In fact, if you get baseball right now, you get the rest of my number one ranked NBA season for free. No promo code needed. Full details on the page right now, Steve Merrill, WagerTalk.com.
All right, guys. Yes, 4 guys with hair. Absolutely. Can you believe that? Those bald-headed bastards, we left them off the show on a Friday. Love it. Always good to see you guys, though. Let's dive in game number 1. And that is going to be the all-important game 3 here between the newly minted MVP and his Philadelphia 76ers taking on the Boston Celtics. 2.5 is still what we're seeing here. 215 in the total. 7:30 tip on this one. So pretty much according to plan, I guess, right? You get the split Philadelphia. You got to feel pretty good coming home tonight in game 3, and you get your MVP in the lineup here and kind of, shook the rust off there, Andy, a little bit in that last game. But what kind of chances do you give him to get the leg up here and go up 2-1 in this one?
Listen, I am of the opinion that Joel Embiid is not healthy, and I think that there's going to be some big decisions to be made if he doesn't look healthy tonight, whether or not they want to keep him in the lineup. I thought he was shockingly slow, and Boston is able to get out and move in transition, and they were able to get to the basket. Yeah, I think it's a real problem. If Boston wants to pick up the tempo, Doc Rivers is going to have to be looking at that, going, is he worth it? I mean, if you get a similar performance from Embiid, I mean, the guy, he got 3 rebounds in 27 minutes. He got 15 points, and 7 of them were at the free throw line. I'm not really sure that, he's going to get awarded the MVP tonight and they're at home, therefore his leg is all better now. I don't necessarily buy that. I mean, I've had injuries before. I've never gotten an award and then felt better. I don't know. That's just me. I'm just of the opinion he goes under his points, rebounds, and assists. They got it at 38.5 now. He didn't even get halfway there last game. I've been told, that game was just to shake off the rust. Now's the game. Okay, I guess I'll believe it when I see it. But don't worry, Philly fans. I do love 1 over on Joel Embiid. That's his turnovers. They have it at 2.5. The guy just turns it over a lot. He had 3 last game. He had a game with 8 in the playoffs. He had a game with 5 in the playoffs. It's a little bit juicy, but if he's out on the court for an extended period of time, he's going to turn the ball over a lot. But I'm not a believer in that Joel Embiid is going to be back to his normal self. And I also like the Celtics over 108.5 on their team total. They've scored 115 and 121 in the first 2 games. I'm not really sure what changes defensively. Harden and Maxey still can't guard anyone on the perimeter. I'm a believer in Boston, even though they can be irritating at times. I think this is a real uphill battle for Philly tonight. It would not surprise me if they lost this one and if Embiid did not look 100%.
Yeah, it does kind of feel like we are one fall to the ground away from maybe losing Embiid altogether for the rest of these playoffs, something you got to be concerned with. But if you're Philly, Merrill, they're pretty damn good at home this year. 26, 16, and 1 against the number, 31 and 12 straight up, I believe. They've handled business on their own home court here. Do you trust them to be able to handle it here tonight in game 3?
Yeah, first of all, I was surprised Embiid played in game 2. If he's not healthy enough to play after a week off in game 1 and you steal that game, and now you have home court advantage even if you lose game 2, which they still have, why not give him 3 more days of rest by having him skip game 2? So that tells me maybe they don't think he's getting any healthier. And like Andy said, he didn't look fully healthy. So that very well might have cost them the series playing him in game 2, and they lost by 34. So it's not like it mattered. I was happy to see him play game 2 because, as I mentioned earlier, I had a strong best bet on Boston. I think they're the best team in the NBA. I think they're the team to beat overall. They were a favorite in the finals last year. I know they came up a little short. Ralph Michaels pointed out that stat a few weeks ago that they're the only team to be top 3 offense and defensive efficiency. I think it's only happened 2 other times ever. The Warriors did it twice. They won the championship both years. So Boston's the team to beat. With that said, though, Philadelphia had the 3rd best record of the NBA. They would have been the 1 seed in the West right after Boston. So this is a very good team still. I would much rather probably get several points more without Embiid because I think it's not fully factored in. But I do think it's somewhat factored in because if he's fully healthy, Philly coming off the blowout loss, I think should be a favorite in this game. Now they're a 2.5-point dogs. I do think it's 50% priced into the line. And I just can't help myself, Joe. I love to play quality teams off a blowout loss in the playoffs. I've done it for decades, and Philly obviously qualifies here. They're not down 0-2. That's an even better angle for game 3 home teams. But it looks like a focus spot for Philadelphia. And let's not forget, Boston has had a tendency to take their foot off the gas this season in several games, including game 1 where they thoroughly overlooked Philly. They blew a 12-point lead, lost outright without Embiid. They did it several times in the regular season, blew double-digit leads, lost outright. This is a situation, if Boston is up by double digits, maybe a little in-game look on Philly wouldn't be a bad move. So maybe sit back, wait. Hope Boston gets out to a quick lead and then play a Philly in game if you're catching double digits.
And it's interesting, too, because Boston's done a really good job of handling business early in games, first quarter, first half. Sometimes they tend, biggest problem with Boston there, Brian Powers, maybe they tend to lose a little bit of focus late in the latter half of the game, in the second half. So some interesting approaches to this game. Is there one that you're focusing on for it?
Yeah, I'm going to take a look at the player prop market as well. James Harden, over 2.5 3-pointers made here. Obviously, Harden has the monster game one, scoring 45 points. That includes going 7 of 14 from 3-point range. But like the rest of the team, these guys have pointed out, Harden really came crashing back down to earth in game two. 0 for 6 from 3-point range, finishes with only 12 points. Do I expect him to get back to the heights of game one? No, I do not, Joe. But the good news is we, again, only need him to sink 3 threes tonight. And looking back through this postseason, I know it's a small sample size because they swept in the first round, but Harden has not gone back-to-back games without making 3 threes at least one time. And if you go through the box scores in the regular season, it was pretty rare to find back-to-back games where he didn't at least make 3 threes once. Considering it's been high volume from behind the arc, 23 pointers attempted in the first 2 games, and as these guys have pointed out, Joel Embiid hobbled still. Harden may have to carry the scoring load. He's at home here in game 3. I am pretty confident, guys, that James Harden is going to make at least 3 3-pointers tonight here in game 3. Does that mean the Sixers win? I don't know. But I'd like James Harden to sink at least 3 threes tonight.
As long as he's taking he's got the volume, there's a pretty damn good chance a couple of those are going to, didn't mean for that to go in. But I do want to mention, because the lunatics in the chat room also mentioned it. It deserves to be brought up in honor of Mr. Rob Vino. Scotty Foster
I know.
In the
Knew you were
zebra
going there.
uniform here, Merrill tonight. Yeah, Mr. Foster. You know the NBA wants this going 7 games.
But Joe, I meant to bring that up. I forgot to mention that. I was going to say, how do you read that, though? Do they want Boston in the finals? Do they want Philly so it can go 6 or 7, assuming Boston's going to win still? And isn't it ironic that he doesn't have the Phoenix game when Chris Paul is out? Because that's the guy he hates more than anybody. So I thought it was very interesting to see him the crew chief tonight for the Boston game.
Yeah, interesting, very interesting. Matter of fact, Miami fans still screaming and yelling about his appearance here. Appearance a couple of days ago there at the Garden in that game. But hey, water under the bridge, handle your business, Philadelphia, or don't. And Embiid will have plenty enough time to heal up when it's all said and done. We do have a second game here tonight, of course, and talk about back against the wall. Phoenix. Woo! -4. What? Yes, -4. 224.5 is the total in this one. And from what I understand, they won't allow the wheelchair on the court, so Chris Paul's out. So no good there, which means they're going to be even shorter staffed than they usually are. The depth continuing to be a problem for Phoenix here, which means we're probably going to get 40 minutes for for Booker and, of course, for Durant. And that makes it a very intriguing prop game here, Andy. By the way, shout out to your brother, Jeff Saturday. Big shout out to Eron there in the chat. Yep, there it is. Good stuff there. Didn't realize your brother was going to be at the game there next week. But, hey, talk to me about I don't even know how they did that quick, Andy. I don't even know where they pulled that picture out and how they pulled it out that quick, but that is fantastic. Tell me what you got for this game. Is it Booker? Is it Durant? Or somebody off the bench?
I tell people what's funny is I know Jeff Saturday.
I know you do. That's what I'm laughing. I'm like, they don't know, but we're dying.
Well, I'm glad. I would like to say I do not look like Jeff Saturday. Jeff Saturday looks like me. Okay, let's make that very clear.
Damn straight.
Solid point.
It's a lucky
I don't.
man.
I wasn't a believer in Phoenix coming into this series. I'm certainly not a believer now. Joe, you said they're going to play 40 minutes. That's if they're in foul trouble. They're going to have to play 48 minutes. Look at this roster. Look at this starting lineup.
Terrible.
I'm going to say my best bet for this game, but I will say I like Jamal Murray to go over 2.5 3-pointers. 0 for 9 last game. This is another thing that Phoenix caught Denver on a night where Jamal Murray went 0 for 9 from 3-pointers. So that's just not going to happen again. So I think they're in for a long night. I like Jamal Murray coming back. He had 6 in the first game. He was 6 for 10 and then 0 for 9. I think you're going to find something in the middle there. He's going to probably be, around that 3 for 8, 4 for 10 mark. I think Jamal Murray has a good game, and I'm not getting near any of these Phoenix Suns players. I think the general consensus is, Durant and Booker, they're going to go over their points, rebounds, and assists. I mean, this team is really easy to defend. Just throw bodies at Durant and Booker. Make Damian Lee beat you. So I'm not really sure that Durant and Booker are going to have amazing games because they're going to have bodies around them all the time. You can't trust DeAndre Ayton at all. So it's going to be a Jokic game. It's going to be a Jamal Murray game. I'm stunned that Phoenix is -4. I just don't see it with them.
Not seeing it could possibly be, and I don't know, Brian Powers, is that a way to look at this? Maybe we go Denver 4-0, maybe 4-1. Maybe we look for a series bet somewhere along the lines here because, I mean, let's face it, if Phoenix don't win tonight, are they going back to Denver?
I don't know. We'll see. I'm a glutton for punishment. I'll get to that here in a minute. I guess based off Andy, a little awkward what I'm about to say, I guess based on what Andy just broke down. But at the top of the show, I mentioned last night's very easy 4% winner on the Warriors. Well, by far my easiest win of the NBA playoffs so far was game 2 of this series when I cashed the under. Talk about never in doubt. 45-point winner. That was one of those ones after the first quarter you knew you were in really good shape. So felt good about that. Full disclosure, my 4% best bet I've got up right now at WagerTalk.com once again on the total this game. So let's look at the side here, specifically the first half. Of course, the big story, as you guys have mentioned, not just Phoenix being down 0-2 in the series, but that they're without Chris Paul. But teams returning home for game 3, down 0-2 in the series. Steve alluded to this a little bit in the previous game breakdown. Teams in this situation are on a 66% ATS run in the first half, 67, 34, and 2 against the number. So historically speaking, taking the Suns in the first half here has been a good bet. Now, odds makers seem to have caught on to trend because if you go to the WagerTalk odds screen, right now, Phoenix is -3 or -3.5, depending on the book, in the first half, despite being -4 for the game. So perhaps you have to think that maybe that trend is baked into the number. But my view is this. It is worth following the trend and laying the points in the first half here. If Phoenix is to win tonight and get back into this series at all, I don't see how that happens without them having a strong start. Here's the key. Andy alluded to this a little bit. First 2 games for Phoenix, Kevin Durant and Devin Booker combined for 115 points. The rest of the team scored just 79, and 19 of those were from Paul, who is now out. So somebody does have to step it up here. You look at the roster, it's not an inspiring list of names. I concede you that point. But the good news is, at home, role players do typically play a lot better than they do on the road, right? And I've got to imagine the Suns' three-point shooting is going to improve tonight, guys. 13 of 54, 24% the first 2 games. That is putrid. The Suns defensively, at home, top 8 in the league in points per game allowed. And the Nuggets, worth pointing out, they're not the same on the road as they are at home. They score 6.4 points per game fewer on the road, Joe. I am laying it with the Phoenix Suns in the first half. Let's hope they could show a pulse here, and then we'll see what happens in the second half.
Well, Durant, everybody went out of their way after that first game to say, we just got to start chucking up some threes here, man. We got to start chucking threes. Well, Chuck, they did in game 2 there, Merrill. The problem was none of them were lucky if it hit the damn backboard. I mean, it was absolutely awful. But I don't think the volume is going to change either. Durant has basically told us what the game plan here. They don't want to fall behind, but the problem is they've started slow in a lot of these games so far. Do you think that changes at home tonight in a must-win spot?
Yeah, it does seem pretty obvious that Durant and Booker have to have big games, right? If you like the Suns to win. And as Bryan said, teams down 0-2 normally do play well at home in game 3. And once again, let's not forget, Phoenix was the favorite to win this conference a couple weeks ago when the playoffs began. So if they're really the best team in the West, they should bounce back tonight. I found it interesting, Joe, that, when it became known a couple days ago, back on like Tuesday, that Paul might not play, the line went from 5 down to 3.5. Now that he's officially ruled out, it's back up to -4. It's actually going higher with less uncertainty about his status. Some of that might be a buyback, obviously, but I also think people maybe like the Suns better without Paul. The first half is 3.5, the game is 4, and that's because, as Bryan said, it is baked in that these teams do extremely well in the first half, down 0-2. But let's assume that Phoenix does well tonight. The player props, obviously seem obvious with Durant and Booker going over. Booker's at 30.5, juiced over. Durant's 28.5. Booker's actually been all around that number. Durant's actually had 28 or more, 29 or more in 3 of his last 4 games. 4 of his last 5, he's had 28 or more. So I don't think it's unreasonable to get Durant over 28.5. But Chris Paul's the facilitator. He doesn't necessarily have to do all the scoring. So someone's going to have to pick up the assist. And I think Devin Booker is more likely to pick up the assist than Kevin Durant. And we talked about 3-point shooting. When you take threes, someone's getting an assist. If it's a quick pass to him and they shoot the 3. Durant took 12 3-point attempts in the last game, went just 2 for 12. Booker overall has taken around 6, 6.5, 7 over the last 5 games on average. So I think Durant will take more threes. I think Booker will pass him the ball more often. And I like Booker over 7.5 assists. He's had 7, 10, 8, and 6 in the last 4 games. I think Booker over 7.5 assists might not be a bad prop in this one.
Yeah, 30.5 points, I think, was his point prop. But he has by far been a little bit more reliable than anybody. It's just him and Durant chucking up shots at this point. The question is, do we believe anybody off of that bench? Anybody is going to step up. And let's face it, if Ayton doesn't handle his business against Jokic or make life difficult for him, it's could very well be a long game here again in this game 3. But a lot of different ways to correlate these bets here tonight, guys. In each game, we got a couple of games tomorrow, too, as well, with the Knicks down in my neck of the woods here, taking on the Heat in game 3. Lakers will be hosting Golden State in game 3. So a monster weekend coming up here. But we got a couple of games tonight. Let's see if we can't get a best bet from these guys in one of these 2 games. Andy, start us off here, my man. 60 seconds. Give us one you like a little more than the rest here.
Sure. You can use the promo code Andy3 to get a 3-day pass for $39. We're up almost 21 units in the last 7 days. We're right around that plus 80 unit mark for the year in 2023. So we're seeing all sports really well. Promo code Andy3 for $39 gets you a 3-day pass. I'm taking the Suns under their team total. So here's their new starters, Joe. Hold on to your butts. Josh Okogie, he scored 4 points this series. Not to be outdone, Dame is starting. He scored 3 points this series. They're combined 3 for 15 in this series. Don't worry, Campaign is playing tonight. He's 3 for 10 for 7 points total. I don't know where these points are going to come from. Durant and Booker are going to have to combine for 95 points to sniff this team total. I don't know why they're a favorite, but give me the Phoenix Suns well under their team total. I have no idea where the points come from. I think Denver wins tonight.
All right, let's do it here. Denver to win it outright, but hey, fade that team total here, guys, with Denver. In the meantime, Merrill, you seem hopped up, man. You think Booker is the key for Phoenix here. So tell us, what is the best bet here tonight heading into this game?
Going to look at a free NBA player prop for tonight on Friday, May the 5th. Quick reminder, I will have a Fade the Public video for Saturday's games here on WagerTalk TV. So tune in later tonight on Friday for that information. Hit subscribe, hit the bell for instant alerts. Also, don't forget about baseball. It's been fantastic all year. And you get the rest of my number 1 ranked NBA season for free when you get baseball right now. It's a 2-for-1 combo, no promo code needed. Check out my page. And a free baseball play for tonight right now, Steve Merrill, WagerTalk.com. All right, Suns return home down 0-2 without Chris Paul. That means somebody's got to pick up the load at assist. Chris Paul's had 5 assists or more in every playoff game. He's had 7 assists on average, basically. So someone's going to pick that up. And it's either Durant or Booker. I think Devin Booker is the most likely suspect. Kevin Durant took 12 3-point attempts in the last game. He's going to shoot more threes. Booker's going to hit him with the passes and get some assists. And Booker gets assists even with Paul in the lineup. He's had 6 assists or more in the last 4 games, 7 or more in 3 of the 4. He gets more than 7.5 assists tonight. on Friday.
Speaking of load, Bryan Power, what do you got for a best bet here tonight,
Well,
my man? Where are we looking? What you gonna do? Remind the fine folks what you got going on here tonight.
Yeah, keep that in mind when we get to the end of this segment here. Guys, topic of discussion was the NBA, but just wanted to let everyone know about a special I've got going at WagerTalk.com right now where you can get all of my MLB and soccer plays for the next 7 days for just $79. That is 2 weekly packages for the price of one. Going back to last October, I am number one in MLB, up 57.4 units. It's 54-29-2 run, 24-12 last 36 here in 2023. Includes a 2-0 sweep last night. And in soccer, not only have I got 11-4 with all sides the last 10 days, number one for the season in 3 different domestic leagues, plays rated 4% or higher, EPL, La Liga, and Serie A. Again, head over to my page, no coupon needed. 7 days, MLB and soccer, just $79. As for today's best bet, you already heard it. Phoenix Suns, first half. Try to find it at -3, and don't miss out on tonight's best bet, 4% total for the game. I've got 10 seconds left. Cinco de Mayo, Joe. I would be remiss that it was a beautiful Derby day 11 years ago where I met my wife. On that note, let's hit the town and cash some winners. See you later.
Oh, congratulations. Is that your wife? Oh, that's Trig. Oh,
No.
sorry.
Jay, you
it's
know.
your other love.
You know.
Oh, so sorry. It's
You
your
met him
other
at the
love,
Preakness.
Adam Trigger. There it
Yeah.
is. Yeah. Was it 11 years ago? You
I'm not gonna
guys,
tell you I met
you
at the
guys really
Belmont.
took it over. I am disgusted with you on
Trigger
so
would be the
many
Belmont.
levels.
That's New
One
York.
more
It's the
time.
Belmont.
Let's go here. You know she burnt that hat already. Let's check it out here. Andy Lang going
No, it's upstairs.
Phoenix team total.
How many mint juleps had she had?
1-4 mint.
We'll get into that
Get
after the show,
diabetic
Steve.
shock drinking those things. 114.5. We're going under right now with Andy Lang for that team total tonight. Merrill, he's back in Booker in the assists. He's going to need to have a big game here tonight, and Merrill's betting that he does. While Bryan Power, Phoenix early, lay the 3 here as they are a desperate team here, down 2 games to none. Big shout out to S. Warrior, who no doubt will be rooting for the Miami Heat tomorrow, though. So shout out to him as they look to go up 2 games to 1. But you saw there on the page, guys, no reason not to make this one hell of a profitable Derby weekend as well. A lot going on here. Visit WagerTalk.com. You heard Andy. He's got his code up, ready to rock and roll, as does Bryan Power. Merrill, make sure you guys are checking out his videos here for the weekend at YouTube as well. Merrill will have those up for you. All the latest information you need to know about what's happening in the NBA playoffs. He'll have those ready to go. And Major League Baseball, Derby, golf, UFC, a little something for everyone this weekend, guys. So let's cash some damn tickets here on behalf of Andy Lang, Jeff Saturday, Steve Merrill, Bryan Power's wife, Adam Trigger, apparently. Listen, guys, we appreciate it. Best of luck with all of those plays here tonight. We'll be back again Monday, putting it all together again. Yes, send that in. The love is in the air, isn't it? Love is in the air. Yes, Bryan Power. Best of luck, guys. We'll see you on Monday. Will has got your number.
Here's your chance. You can take 50% off your first daily or 3-day all-access purchase at